Good day, everyone. My name is Masulumane Sandawana. Welcome back to Masulumane Foundation Twilight Series. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And today, we are honored to bring you an epilogue of our previous topic with my husband. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Good day. My name is Welcome Sandawana, co-founder of Masulumane Foundation.
This is the man that said yes to the vision of the foundation. This is the man that said yes to be a pillar of strength. This is the man that said yes, we will go out to the world, and yes to God as He sent us. And to me, to have a pillar of strength, to me, to have a father of my children, to me, to have a supporter and the one that has groomed me to be a wife, a mother, and a better community leader. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we are on an epilogue of our previous topics, which we started with the Masulumane Foundation, which were based on the trauma of our developmental stages, contributes to who we are today. Now, we would like you to share with us your childhood, how you embraced your childhood. Who are you?
Well, as I've said, my name is Welcome Sandawana. I grew up in the homelands, and I was brought up by my mother. My mother used to work in the Limpopo farms as a tomato picker, and all the time I was with my grandmother and my siblings. That's how I grew up. I later moved on into the city and to do my education, and then I further went abroad to do my my degrees, and then branched on into business when I came back into the country.
Interesting. Now, you have just shared with us that you were raised from one family to the next point. But as a child, did that at some point in your life bring unanswered questions to say you've been raised from a mom who is picking up potatoes or tomatoes from a field so that you can have a meal to eat at home? Was there any questions about life? Was there any curiosity or what it is that you saw within that family? Did you see a perfect picture of a family, a perfect picture of what life is all about?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say there was a disconnection between my mother and my grandmother. And funny enough, I used to call my grandmother Mommy, and my mother will call him Sisi, so that's the difference. But then as I grew up, I then had to find out that the person that we used to call Usisi, was my mother. So then that, as you go on to life, and you then learn of that, okay, there is something not right here, but it was normal to us as we're growing up, and it wasn't something that I could worry about. But then as you then get on to life, you further then want to correct that. So we only corrected that, when we become men, and to now refer to our mother as Mommy instead of our grandmother as Mommy, yeah.
Right. Was there any, at some point in your life where you realized that the fact that you were raised by a grandmother and you grew up calling your biological mother as a mother, was there a gap maybe that you felt was missing? Because now being with a grandmother, I don't know which father figure was there as a boy, was there a gap that you noticed as you were growing up, though you had these two beautiful women?
Well, look, what was important, what became reality to me as I grew up, was that my grandmother embraced us as year on. So we could not see that difference of that mother. We did not miss our mother. So it's because the love that we got from our grandmother was just sufficient as if she was our mother. And my uncles from my grandmother, they were father figures, very important. One that I can relate to was Mtunyelwa, a very schooled Nguni fellow, who brought me up and would guide us and the like. So we did not miss that fatherhood thing. But, as you live in the community, then you get to get those influences to say, but that's not your father and all that. But it did not bother us because there was not much of a rivalry with my cousins, who had their father figure around.
Yeah. So what you're saying to us is, as communities, as families, where there is a misplace of position, it is still important for us to work together to bring up our children in a space where they feel the environment is safe. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, very true. That's what I'm saying. And that communal love that embraces those who are with and those who are without is very important. It then shelters those who feel like they do not have a father figure, they do not have a mother figure. When you've got that embracing love, then you're okay. That's what the communities should be, bringing up children. Children are for the community.
Yeah. Which takes us back to who you are today. You are a father of many, and you have stretched yourself to your neighbors, to the community, and the world at large. Surely it is something that was planted as a seed from when you were growing up. So to have such a background and carry it till your age, we really, really appreciate that. You still continuing to plant that seed, and it continues to grow to the community and the world at large. Now, we go through different stages in our childhood. We may come from perfect backgrounds or grown up in a perfect family or environment. I don't know your meaning of perfect. However, I would say where there is love, where there's security, where there is food on the table, where there's clothes, the basic needs are met, of course. However, in our lives, as you grew maybe older, there were needs or there were situations that happened along the way that either hipped your steps and you fell, and that became an eye-opener to say the world is not the way it looks, and life sometimes it presents itself differently. Do you mind sharing those moments with us from your childhood?
Well, I wouldn't call it imperfect or perfect, but when you live in the community, there are moments that there are some external influences that come to disrupt the situation. So yes, there'll be a situation whereby you get to know that the person that you're calling mommy is not your mommy, it's your grandmother. But it didn't actually bother us a lot because personally, my grandmother was the favorite person that I've ever had in my life after my mother. Surely you get to know those things, but yes, you get influenced, you get to think otherwise, but the love that we had from our grandmother, and it really overshadowed all that.
Great. Would you use that as one of the shadows that you embraced as a child, because at some point you had to face something that was not foretold from home and coming from outside influence? Did you end up embracing that as your shadow, and what did you use that shadow as, whether it's as something good or as something bad in your future, or as you continued to live?
Yeah, well, one, I would say I wholesomely embraced the situation that I found myself in, and plus my siblings, and to an extent whereby it becomes nothing of harm to you. But when you embrace that situation, that means you can step over it, you can live with it, and you are comfortable with that. So that was what I would call my pillar of strength, accepting the reality that you find yourself in.
Great. As a child, yes, we find ourselves where we have to accept the changes that we face and the changes that we go through. However, as our first series was saying, we are born with an intuition that home is a safe place, community is a safe place. When you started realizing that it is not as perfect, the community or the family structures as they seem to be, what was in your heart? Did you feel that there's a gap that needs to be closed? Did you feel that you were now put aside as this a different child,
Look,
by the community?
Well, the community is an imperfect society. The community will always present itself like that, and just a flashback as you're asking me that question. That then I moved from my grandmother's home, and then I went to stay with my uncle Umtunyelo, and he groomed me up. He made me to be aware that this is a hardening off stage of my life. He was a father figure to me. His wife was a mother, and but you'll still get that longing, because now the setup is now that you're now with your uncle, with his wife, you're from your grandmother, and now when my cousin come and they're coming from the city and we're in the homeland, you see that gap, to say, but now that one is enjoying the mother that he has been my mother when he was away. So that would
confusion, would you say?
That will bring a little bit of confusion, but that will trigger those societal influences, whereby you'll say, but this is not your mother and all that stuff, so you should be with your mother. So, yes. But because of the man that was around us, was a father figure, you know what I mean, and may his soul rest in peace. He had to make me to soldier on, to say this is life, this is what life is. And like I would say, maybe as I grow up, I need to give my son or my daughter to their uncles, because that's where they get good education, because your uncle will always be there for you, will always give you the best, but in a hard situation, you will feel that, but this is a little bit hard, but they'll be training you life.
Okay. Your childhood, as you have shared with us, and there were things that were missing, and you looked up, maybe you wanted somebody to say something, and that person was not there. Maybe the voice of the community that you were thinking of was totally from the voice that you heard, or the words or the encouragement that came from the community was totally different to what you expected. So now that child, when he started hearing something totally of negative from the community, what would you say to that child today?
I would say to that child today, mind the foundation in which you've been built on, and do not listen to so many voices. And that's what I would say to that child. Rather listen to the voice of reason that you have already embraced, and then that will actually sustain you, than listening to so many voices, because so many voices will shatter you down, won't give you progress.
Yeah. Wow. That was our epilogue from my husband, the one and only. Welcome, Sandawana. Thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to see you on our next series, next topic as we close this one with the co-founder himself, with his unfiltered childhood story. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.